So you're dying to see the real Japan, right? The one you don't see on those big bus tours. Yeah, those hidden gems, the local spots, the real deal. I totally get it, but man, planning a trip like that, it can feel overwhelming, like you're trying to climb Mount Fuji or something, which is what today's deep dive is all about, really. We're checking out therealjapan.com. They've got this, well, it's kind of cool. It's a personalized travel planning call service. You basically jump on a Zoom call with a Japan expert, and they like help you put together your dream trip. And get this, one of their past clients, Dave, he said the service saved him from a total planning meltdown. We'll get to his story a bit later, but first let's break down what the service actually does. So on therealjapan.com, you can book a 30, 45, or 60-minute Zoom call. You chat with the founder, Rob Dyer, SERP, and it's not just a quick, hey, how are ya? Kind of call. This is your chance to like really pick his brain about all things Japan. We're talking about getting help with your itinerary, finding those off the beaten path places to stay, even just figuring out how the heck the train system works. And here's a cool thing, they send you a recording of the call afterwards, which is genius, right? No more frantic note-taking while you're trying to absorb everything.
What's really interesting here is how they've designed this service. They're addressing a really common problem, planning a trip to a place you've never been, especially somewhere like Japan, where the culture and the language can be, well, different. Guidebooks can only get you so far. This service is all about getting personalized advice, and not just from any expert, but someone who has lived and breathed Japan for over 20 years.
That's such a good point, especially if you're looking for something beyond the typical tourist experience. I know, me personally, I'd much rather get recommendations from someone who really gets the nuances of traveling in Japan. Speaking of personalized advice, tell me about this pre-call questionnaire. What's the thought process behind that?
It's all about efficiency. They want to make sure you're getting the absolute most out of your call time. So, by having you fill out a questionnaire beforehand, Rob can go into that call already, understanding your interests, your travel style, what you're hoping to get out of the trip. That way, instead of spending the first 15 minutes just getting to know each other, he can dive straight into giving you specific advice. Advice tailored to you.
Totally. It's like having your own personalized Japan playbook ready to go. Speaking of personalized planning, this is where Dave's story comes in, right? He was in that planning black hole, just overwhelmed with all the amazing things to see and do in Japan.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. It's that too much of a good thing. We've got so much information at our fingertips these days that it can actually make planning harder. Dave had been to Japan a couple of times, I think, and he really wanted to explore, get off the beaten track, the rural areas.
Yeah.
But he was having trouble, like narrowing it down, making a real plan.
I get it. You read about one cool place, then another, and suddenly you've got this massive list and no idea how to actually make it happen. So how did therealjapan.com actually help him? What did they do?
Well, it sounds like Rob really helped him focus. Cut through all the noise and hone in on what Dave was really interested in. That, like in his testimonial, Dave mentions that he wanted to see the cherry blossoms.
Right?
Of
course, classic.
Yeah, but he wanted to go beyond the typical spots.
Yeah.
So get this. Rob suggests this village, a small one, in the Japanese Alps. And it turned out they were having this special festival at the exact same time that Dave was going to be there.
Wow, talk about being in the right place at the right time. That's something you probably wouldn't find in your average guidebook.
Nope, definitely not. That's the kind of insider knowledge that can really make a trip special. And it wasn't just about seeing the blossoms either. Rob explained the meaning, the history behind the festival, what it meant to the local people. Dave said that experience, being there for that, was a highlight of his whole trip.
That's what I'm talking about, that deeper understanding. That's what makes travel so amazing. It's more than just checking things off the list. It's about really connecting with a place. Sounds like Mike is doing that, giving context, helping people understand the why behind the experience.
Exactly. And it goes beyond the historical stuff, too. Dave mentioned that Rob helped him navigate some really how to put it, interesting travel routes using like the local trains and buses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He even showed him how to use the Japan Rail Pass effectively, which saved him a ton of money, apparently.
That's huge, especially for someone who might be, a little intimidated by public transportation in a foreign country.
Absolutely. It's about giving travelers the tools, the confidence to really explore. And then on top of all that, Dave was really impressed with how Rob helped him find those, what do they call it, unique places to stay.
Yeah, the accommodations. Yeah, for sure. Finding the right place to stay can totally make or break a trip for me.
It really can. And it's not just about being comfortable, though that's important, right? It's about finding those places that add to the experience. Like Dave mentioned that Rob helped him book a traditional ryokan, in the countryside,
Okay, getting immersive.
right? And not just any ryokan, but one that was known for its local cuisine.
Oh, wow. So he's thinking about the whole package, even the food.
Exactly. It's all part of the experience, right? Trying the local dishes, getting that full cultural immersion. Dave was raving in his testimonial about the meals he had at the ryokan. Said they were some of the most memorable he's ever had. He even got to try a few things he'd never even heard of.
It's funny. You don't always think about that side of things when planning a trip. At least I don't. But it makes such a difference.
Huge difference. And, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but sometimes investing in a service like this, it can actually save you money in the long run.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, think about it.
Ah,
If you're not wasting time and money on tourist traps, and you're getting those personalized recommendations, you're way more likely to be spending your money on stuff you actually like, right?
that makes sense.
Plus, having someone help you figure out all the logistics, like the transportation, the accommodations, it can help you avoid those, those expensive mistakes or those missed opportunities. You know what I mean?
Right, right. It's those hidden costs you don't always factor in. Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've looked at how the realjapan.com's personalized planning calls work. We've heard all about Dave's his amazing experience. What's like the biggest takeaway for you? Would you, as someone who, clearly loves to travel, ever consider using a service like this?
Oh, absolutely. I think it highlights how important it is to have that expert guidance,
Yeah.
especially from someone who is so clearly passionate about Japan, about sharing those authentic experiences with other people. I think that can make all the difference in creating a trip that's truly memorable, truly unique.
I love that. It's like moving away from the whole one-size-fits-all travel experience and towards something that's, well, more personal, more tailored to what you're looking for.
Exactly. It's about embracing that idea
Yeah.
that, everyone's journey is different. Every experience is unique.
So for anyone listening, as you're planning your next adventure, ask yourself, what does the real Japan mean to me? What kind of experiences am I looking for? And who knows, maybe a service like this can be the thing that helps you find those experiences. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, happy travels.